Hello everyone. As a lot of you guys asked about some of the differences between forex and future prop firms, so I will try to explain the main differences. In forex or CFD firms, we are trading spot, which means I will just simply give you the example of gold. There are spot price, which means if you are buying or selling gold, you can hold that position forever. Whereas in future firms, we trade future contracts. Future contracts expire, some of them expire every month, and some of them expire every 3 months. Now, if you are a short term trader, then it doesn't really matter because you are trading for few hours or maximum couple of days, so it doesn't really impact you, but it can be a little bit tricky. In forex or CFD firms, the lot size is simple. Again, if I'm giving the example of gold, 100 ounce of gold, if you want to try, you will simply trade one lot. In future, if you want to trade 100 ounce of gold, you will trade the standard lot. But here where it gets a little bit tricky, let's suppose you want to trade 30 ounce of gold. Now in forex you will simply trade zero point 0.3, but in future firms you will trade a mini contract. A mini contract is equal to 10 ounces. Now you can get all this information on the firm's website or even on the Google. So this means that if you want to trade 30 ounce of gold, you will trade 3 minis because 1 mini is equal to 10 ounces of gold. So if you want to trade zero point 0.3, you are only trading 3 minis. Okay. Now in forex firms, you can open multiple positions. For example, you bought gold at, let's suppose, 3370. Gold went in favor of you or it against you. Let's suppose it went against you 3365. You can open another position and you will have two separate positions. Whereas when you are trading future firm, if you open another trade, your trade will average out. Let's suppose if you are trading the same quantity both time, your first position was at 3370. To simplify the example, you you open the same quantity of position second time at 3360. Now it will show you as one position which is at 3365. So it is a little bit tricky, but again, nothing major. In forex, once you pass the challenge, there is no activation fee. In majority of future firms, there is an activation fee. Now there is an advantage of this in with future firms, and advantage is, let's suppose, a 100K account usually is 400 to $500 in forex, whereas in futures maybe same will be around 100 or $150. But once you pass it, then you have to pay the activation fee. It is a two-sided sword. Advantage is that you are not blowing too much money. You only pay the full amount if you pass the challenge. Okay, now in forex there are one step, but mostly we trade two steps challenges, whereas in futures almost all the challenges are one step accounts. In forex, once you pass the two stages, there is no buffer required. You make $1,000, you get a payout 80 or 90%, whatever the case may be. But in futures, it is again kind of a tricky. It is same situation, but you have to create a buffer. What buffer means? You in simplified form, it is actually the phase two, but you are actually unfunded. I'll give you an example. If we speak about Apex Trader, that is one of the major firm. If you pass a $50,000 account, you first have to go to 52,100, and anything that you make over 52,100, you can withdraw that. And most of the time, you can withdraw 100% of the profit. So you have to create a buffer. Every firm is different, so go through the rules first as well. Now in forex or CFD firms, there the main platforms are MetaTrader, CTrader, or TradeLocker. Most of the time, there are others, but these are the main ones. Whereas in futures, we have Tradovate, Project X, Ninja Trader. They can be a little bit tricky if you have never traded them before, but most of them can be integrated with TradingView. So if you are using TradingView, that will be simple for you. Now in future, almost all future firms offer that I wrote here S2F options, which means straight to funding, which means you don't have to pass any valuation. But again, it is a little bit tricky. I'll give you an example. One of the main firm, Tradify, it offers $150,000 straight to funding account for close to $500 or $600. Sometimes they have promotion, so I'm not sure about current pricing. But you have to first make $9,000 to withdraw $3,000. So it's kind of a same thing that you have to make money, more money to make less money. But yeah, there are consistency rules in future firms as well. So major differences, if I sh- tell you one more time, first of all, that contract size and your lot size can be a little bit tricky. If you are trading US 30, the standard lot will be $5 per pip value, and then there are minis, which is 50 cent per value. So at first, it can be a little bit tricky if you trade two, three different contracts. But the execution is absolutely phenomenal with future firms. The scaling is absolutely phenomenal. Apex offer you 20 accounts at a time. You can pass in literally one day. Most of the firms offer you 5 to 10 accounts. So scaling is really good. Once you get over this thing that what is standard, what are minis, what are micros, and literally you can get familiarized within a couple of days. It's not tough. Again, the advantage is with future firms, the accounts are really cheap. A $50,000 account maybe sometimes is only $50, and after you pass, only then you pay activation fee. But it also kind of incentivizes you to gamble through that. Most of the time there is only 1 day pass, so people try to rush it through. Another major difference that I didn't write here, that is trailing drawdown. That is a really tricky one. So I would like to explain that. Let's suppose you are trading a $50,000 account and your allowed drawdown is $2,500. So now let's suppose you make $3,000 into that. So now your account stands at $5,300. But now if you come back to 50,500, you actually breach the account. Whereas in Forex, if you start a $50,000 account and if you are at $53,000, your initial drawdown will be, again, if we are talking about the same $2,500 maximum allowed drawdown. So it is called static versus trailing. So trailing can be tricky. Sometimes what happen is, let's suppose you initiated a trade. I will try to explain better. Let's suppose you initiated a trade and you went in $3,000 of profit. But literally, if that trade reverses and you are still in $500 profit, you breach the account, because at one point the equity went up to $3,000 and now it goes against $2,500. So I hope I was able to explain. If I wasn't able to explain, just Google trailing drawdown versus static drawdown. There are future firms who offer static drawdown, but that is also for only end of day static drawdown. So yeah, these are the major differences. One is lot size, second is one step versus two step, third one is activation fee, and then the platforms on which you trade are a little bit different. So I hope I was able to explain something, and if you still have questions, feel free to ask.